Googled it. If what's happening, chickie? Are you ready for the colonial set tripping? You know, it's the 250th anniversary. Will be July 4th of America. Did you know America is only 250 years old? Huh? Are you aware of that? Oh yeah, honey. See what you didn't know. Yes, the colonies. There's been a lot of colonial set tripping. I gotta see if I can open up. Well, I would have opened up the panel, but I'm gonna go ahead. So y'all can scroll in, scroll out, or you could stay and get some knowledge. Because keeping it 100, we were taught certain things, and we don't need to be taught those things. Uh, I'm gonna go off the gate, right? From the gate, I'm about to open your eyeballs. Uh, Voice or the echo. Okay, so anyway, this is talking about the Jacobite prisoners who took the option of serving in Sir William Pepperell's regiment in the latitudes of Louisbourg and Cape Breton, and the survivors of whom remain as soldier colonists. That's what I want people to see. The survivors were soldier colonists. So remember now, these people were in Britain. They were deported here prior to 1776, even, you know what I'm saying, coming into play. This was just like 21 years before 1776. So they're soldier colonists. So think about that. Think about that. They're soldier colonists. They're not Africans, but they do have melanated skin complexion. So at the present time, there are in the Carolinas large numbers of natives. Now, mind you, that's indigenous natives of Scotland. These are brothers and sisters, probably more so brothers. I don't know, because it was mostly men. But we'll get to that. Natives of Highland descent and the Gaelic language is still spoken in a few places. So that was the language we had. That's when they came up with it. You couldn't speak your language. This Gaelic is no doubt a remnant from the Jacobite times when prisoners were largely sent to the southern states. In conclusion, now they always try to say Africans was in the southern states. No, these are Jacobites. These are people from Britain, and this is right in the Internet Archives. And it says, in conclusion, painful though it was at the time to the Jacobite men and women deported. Oh, they did deport women. Oh, Lord. To the Jacobite men and women deported and to their friends. Candor compels the avowal that transportation was on the whole what Sir George Mackenzie claimed for it, an act of clemency. It was of benefit to the state, since it gave an impetus. What is that? Impetus to colonization. It told of lands beyond the sea waiting for the hand of man to cultivate. It placed on soils now bursting with tropic heat, now bound with arctic cold, a class of men not only fit to work them, but strong to defend them. So they're promising these folks, like, look, you got this land, boom, 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 boom. You come here, you'll be all, you know what I'm saying? You'll be good. Even though they were a criminal element, if you will, but they really wasn't. They, it opened up to the tutored or the untutored. Okay, object of transportation, according to his sense of perspective, a big or small vista of imperialist possibilities. So they're giving them hope for, you know what I'm saying, making dough, right? It's enlarged his mental horizon. In not a few cases, it converted him from a servant into a master. Do you hear that? It converted him from a servant into a master. So in England, yeah, you a servant, you indentured and shit, right? You a debtor. But you could go to America and you could be a master. You see what I'm saying? You could be a master. Now remember, we're talking apprenticeships, not necessarily slavery. But that turned into slavery, so it might as well be. Okay? So it says it even provided a living to many who were destitute. And last but not least, it transformed as by the touch of an alchemist. Now, this is interesting to me. It transformed as by the touch of an alchemist a body of disaffected rebels into ardent loyalists and peaceful colonists in regions far remote from their native land, but which they now called their home. So these are indigenous to Europe, right? And then they come here. They come to America, but they're deported. But they're saying, hey, you're an indentured servitude. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got shit here. But when you get over there in America, you can become great. You can be a master. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna show you this article because this article is wild. Now this is wild because this is gonna tie it all up on what I'm trying to, where I'm getting at. It's gonna pop up shortly. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. Now, um, this one's wild, so I ain't gonna be able to read it all to you because it's wild. Okay, the wording, but I'm gonna try to do my best. So it says the Chicago Times, July 7th, 1865, gives a Western view, and it says there's a chance in this country for philanthropy, a good opening for abolitionists. It is to relieve 28 million of whites. 28 million of whites held in cruel bondage by 4 million, and it says blacks. A bondage which, I can't say that word, messes up our growth, distracts our thoughts, absorbs our efforts, drives us to war, ruptures our government, disturbs our tranquility, and threatens direfully our future. There never was such a race of slaves as we. There never was another people ground so completely in the dust as this nation. And it says, our Negro masters cracked their whip over our legislators and our region. Our religion. Did you hear that? So those masters that they were speaking of, you can become masters over there. You get what I'm saying? They did. They did. And that's your Celts. That's your Gaelics. That's the Highland Scots. I'm going to go ahead and read this second part of this article. It says the Freedmen's Bureau was created March 3rd, 1865 for the care and supervision of Negroes in federal lines. Branches were rapidly established throughout the South and invested with almost unlimited powers in matters concerning freemen. And agency efficiency depended upon the agent's personality. If he were discreet and self-respecting, its influence was wholesome. If he were the reverse, it was a curse. If he were inclined to peculate, the agency gave opportunity. If he were cruel, well, and then, strange fruit they talk. You see what I'm saying? And then they were talking about molasses and flies and shit. Like, they was doing the most, right? They was doing the most. And I was kind of confused about this because I'm saying, what? You said 28 million whites held in cruel bondage by 4 million blacks? A bondage which, messed up their growth. And then whoever is writing this article is like, our Negro masters cracked their whip over our legislators and our religion. So, what part of history was that taught in? So, let me just show you this again, because that Jacobite gleanings, and like I said, you can look it up for yourself. I'm going to put the book cover back up here. Because this was talking about how they told these, low-level criminals, right? Because they weren't the worst of the worst, but they were debtors. They were in debt. That's how the indentured slave came to be. This is what I'm getting these excerpts from, some of these excerpts from. And this is on Internet Archives. And this is before America's been formed. And this is part of the history that they don't teach because they want every melanated individual to believe they're from Africa. And this is done, you guys, It was done. Believe it or not, this was something that was in play since, the Hanovers. Now this makes sense. If you ever heard of a gentleman called, I think is, let me get it right. Let me see. Let me show you this. I'm gonna show you this cat right here. I like to call him Otis, but it's James Otis. I think his name is James Otis, right? But I like to call him Otis, right? So this makes sense now. If you know that those 28 million whites that were suffering, right, due to cruel bondage by 4,000 blacks. If you know this, and we just saw it, James Otis was a cat that, you didn't hear about in school or anything. But Otis believed that rights were universal. He believed that rights were natural. He believed that rights were inseparable, that no British subject could be enslaved. So he was really trying and fighting hard so that indentured servitude and shit that wouldn't turn into slavery, so they wouldn't have to do, long term, right? Just do their indenture contracts and keep it moving. That's what he was hoping for, and he was fighting tooth and nail. So, and again, this was a melanated individual, fighting for the white black men, if you get what I'm saying. But they were considered white because it was a classification. These Jacobite deportees into America. So anyway, it says no legislation could reduce free men to a subordinate caste. You see what I'm saying? No conquered people could be stripped of rights. Representation was required for taxation. But it says, but colonial governments, especially in the South, did the opposite. Of course, they you know what I'm saying? They needed people to work. They wanted people to work for them. You already know. So they was like, pish tosh. You know what I'm saying? We got all these deportations here. They, you promised that they could be masters or whatever. They got to work. They got to, pay their debts and stuff like that. So, the colonial governments did the opposite. So what did they do? They stripped rights from free families. They erased indigenous history. They reclassified mixed families. They absorbed these Jacobite descendants into caste categories. So some of these descendants, became great, and then others, became African American. I mean, now they ain't had that at that time, but yeah, I guess they did because they came part of that African Methodist Episcopal Church type shit. Because I'm trying to tell you, that's what took place. I'm sorry if I should have made it bigger. My bad. I gotta stop. I told you I gotta get used to presenting. I'm not used to presenting. I'll get there though. Oh, I ain't gonna make it that big. So it's James Otis. And he was really going hard in the paint. He was going hard in the paint for, because like I said, even in today in Britain, believe it or not, people who are descendants from the Stuarts and or have been there for quite some time, or who are indigenous, perhaps Celtic and things like that, who are black, they'll say that they're white. But I think that theory is because eventually in the future, you know what I'm saying, they can just make everybody believe everybody's from Africa. Oh, I appreciate the likes. Thank you so much, Budsy. And I just think it's so insidious. And it's crazy because there's such a vast history that a lot of us don't even know. So this James Otis was fighting for these English people who came here, right? Or, they got sent here. So let's just take a quick gander. And this is from that book, Jacobite's Gleanings. The Jacobite Gleanings. I kind of like this style, though. I got to get used to this. I like this style. It's much simpler than flipping through other stuff. So it says, there is recorded in the state papers a movement of transported rebels on 30th March 1747, 270 having sailed from Gravesend on that day, being 183 from Tilbury Fort, 76 from transports on the river, and 11 from Southwark. Uh, a compu- a computation was made in the prints of the period that at the beginning of April of that year, upwards of 600 people had been shipped here on the 24th of April. 148 were sent from Carlisle, and about the same time, 68 who had cast lots in York Castle. So this is the people that they were sending here. You can see the names. What rings true for me, right, or in my family is McLeod, Alexander McLeod. I don't know if I'm related to him yet. I ain't go that far. Well, I ain't go that far with the McLeese and McLeod clan, but I do have some McLeeses and things. You can see a Stewart too. You know what I'm saying? So Stewarts here in America, Campbells in America, all these people with these type of last names that are in the North. I mean, in the North Carolina. Oh, they got a good brand. I have a Goodman. Grant though is the last name that I have. But yeah, these people, they were shipped here. Again, from not Africa, not Africa. They were shipped here from England. And that James Otis was fighting for their rights so they wouldn't have to be in those conditions of cruel bondage. So when they talk about white slavery, people want to assume it's, people with the pale complexion. Like in that article I just showed you, it said 28 million. Okay? 28 million of these folks were actually in indentured contracts, and it was quite lucrative for the United States, you know, when they first started up. So, this is the book I'm trying to tell you. It's very enlightening, and this is not African slaves. These are people from England. This again was a Norway gift from Krog, Krohg, 1889 to 1965. But I want to just look at this picture in detail. Because I find it rather fascinating. Right? I think you can see over in this left hand corner, you can see the different people. And there's one with this lady right here in this doorway that's kind of cuckoo bananas to me right here. Like she in the doorway, chilling. I don't know if y'all can see my little mouse. Yeah. You see that light coming in on her ass? Like, what that mean? what they what, what they trying to say? Like, is that the sunshine? Or is that something different? I don't know. But we're going to take a look at this here in a little more depth. Even at the top, I'm looking at that. Right? But there's something that bothers me about this. That's nice. They get married and they got the kitty, you got a little floater up top, that person up top. Or it's supposed to be an angel, I guess. Whatever, I don't know. But see, there's something over here that's interesting to me, right here. With this guy. You see the Chinaman? You can tell with his hat, he got his little hat on. He's trying to help, I think. It looks like he's trying to pull this gentleman up. Now this gentleman, though, and this is what I don't like about this photo. Because the people who, to me, seem like they are black people, right? Seem to be in bondage and chains. Chains. I'm going to even make this bigger. See if you can see. He's pulling him up. But the guy seems dead. You see what I'm saying? No color to him. His feet, no shoes on. That's desolate. Destitute. Or something to this painting. You know. And then you see this other guy over here, look. But there's other ones too, down here that it's kind of like they're looking like they don't have life, right? At least with the ones that are chained up, you kind of understand what the problem is. And see this brother down here, he look like he's like looking for, you know, he don't really know where he want to go, but he's trying to just find a place. And he's trying to see where he can go. You know. And this one right here, though, this guy right here, he looking like a zombie or some shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wild. She look like she cared too, like she's trying to help, or she wants to help pull him up. Yeah, the China man and the YT lady look like they want to help a brother out. Now he got a whole damn pick over here on to the side, like, you know, just right above the heart me. Like, you know what I'm saying, that little mining type. You know what I mean? Got his little shovel. I guess he digging for gold and shit, digging for what he can get. Let's see what's going on with this horsey. Oh, you see the light shining though. There's more light outside that window over here, you know. I wonder what that's about. That light. Right? The horse seems a little bit disturbed. It's kind of like this cat's trying to calm down his horse. I don't know what the hell they doing up top here. Oh, that looks like astronomy or some shit. Like he's studying up there. In this corner. Looks like he's studying. They're studying. Mm-hmm. Norway gave this to the UN. But I don't particularly care for it because the people that I see that looks like they're melanated, right, look dead. I wonder why. Why do we look like that? You know why. The whole world knows why. That's how they want it to be perpetually throughout the universe. They want it to be like that forever. But forever is a mighty long time. And a lot of us are waking up. We're not those dry bones. Peace, finest. Yeah, we're not those dry bones anymore. I'm just working on my presentation skills, you know, because I am going to be presenting quite a bit. But like I said, this is how they want us to appear forever. To look desolate. To be enslaved, not only in mind, but also it's kind of sad. Spiritually. Now here's a brother. This brother look like he got a lot of color to him. Let's see. This brother seemed to be out. He doing all right there. I mean, he looked happy. You know what I'm saying? He's playing his drums and shit. Like, got stuff around him here. I don't know what that is, but yeah. Yep. Looks like a Morisco. More. A lot of color to him. right? Then you got these ones that don't have any. You know, he looked like he was fighting in the wars and shit. He's probably the people I was talking about earlier that was presenting. When I was presenting earlier, it's like they want. This guy looks like he wants to be there with those folks. Oh, not to mention like these chicks down here in the corner. You see what I'm saying? Like they climbing out of the depths of hell. Like I don't know what the hell going on. Like why they down there like that? These women, is that like supposed to represent women's suffrages or some shit? He giving her a rope. She climbing up that damn rope.